This is Jared Reimer, and here is your Radio Connection Live news for the week of April 13th. We begin this week in Fort Smith, Arkansas, where changes are already underway following the sale of 93.7 KISR. The station, long known for its top 40 presentation, has begun a format shuffle under its new ownership. While full details are coming into focus, early signs point to repositioning within the market, something we've seen happen frequently when new operators take control. In a market like Fort Smith, even subtle changes in music mix or branding can have a noticeable impact on listeners. In Raleigh, North Carolina, the Federal Communications Commission has taken action against a translator station after ongoing interference complaints. The translator, which had been operating to extend coverage for another signal, was found to be causing disruption to full power stations in the area. As a result, the FCC ordered it off the air. Situations like this highlight just how crowded the FM dial has become, especially in growing markets where every signal matters. In Illinois, there's expansion on the local level. Shaw Local is acquiring a trio of stations in Connecticut, strengthening its presence in the region. Those stations include a mix of formats serving local audience, reinforcing a growing trend where smaller, community-focused companies are investing in radio clusters that prioritize local news, local advertising, and local connections. In Washington, D.C., a familiar voice returns. Russ Parr is officially back. On the air at 102.3 WMMJ, better known as Magic 102.3, spelled MAJIC. An urban adult contemporary station serving the DC market. Parr's return is significant as he has long been a recognizable name in urban radio. In a format that thrives on personality and connection, bringing back a known host can be a major win for listeners' engagement. Out in Bakersfield, California, There's a technical move with real world impact. 1180 Kern, a news talk station, has transitioned its primary frequency to 12:30 a.m. Moves like this are often designed to improve signal coverage and consistency, especially in markets where geography can affect reception. For listeners, it may simply mean retuning their radios, but behind the scenes, it's a strategic effort to strengthen the station's reach. Back on the East Coast, programming changes are making headlines in the country format. Ty Bailey has exited her roles at two major country stations, 98.7 WMZQ in Washington, D.C., and 93.1 WPOC in Baltimore. Both stations are key players in their respective markets, with WMZQ and WPOC known for mainstream country hits and strong listener loyalty. Bailey's departure marks a significant shift in leadership for both brands, and it will be interesting to see how each station evolves moving forward. Also in Washington, 103.5 WTOP, the all-news powerhouse, is preparing to revamp its sports coverage. As one of the most successful news stations in the country, WTOP has built its reputation on delivering timely, reliable information. Now, as listener habits continue to shift, the station is looking to modernize how it presents sports, potentially expanding its reach across digital platforms while maintaining its strong on-air presence. In Green Bay, Wisconsin, mornings are changing at 95.9 WKSZ, known as KISS FM, a top 40 station serving the area. And this KISS FM, as a side note, is your common spelling, not the one like in Los Angeles, which is KIIS. Morning host Otis Day has exited following a situation involving a restraining order tied to a competitor. While unusual, stories like this underscore just how competitive the radio industry can be. particularly in Morning Drive, where station invests heavily in talent and branding. In Sacramento, California, listeners are preparing to say goodbye to a longtime voice. Pat Walsh will retire from mornings at 105.1 KNCI, a country station that has been a staple in the market for years. Morning shows are often the heart of a station's identity, and Walsh's retirement marks the end of a long-standing relationship with listeners who have tuned in day after day. In Hilton Head Island, South Carolina, a format has come to an end. The La Candela brand, which had delivered a Spanish tropical format, has been shut down. Format changes in smaller markets don't always make national headlines, but they can have a big impact locally, especially for communities that rely on those stations for music, culture, and connection. And finally, this week, a broader look at the country format raises an important question for the industry. Research shows that listeners continue to say they love new country as a format. Stations like WMZQ and WPOC continue to perform well overall. But when listeners are asked about the songs themselves, enthusiasm drops. In other words, people like the format, but they're not always connecting with the current music. That presents a challenge for programmers who must balance introducing new material with maintaining familiarity and listener comfort. As we step back and look at the bigger picture, the themes this week are clear. Change continues to define the radio industry, whether it's ownership shifts, format adjustments, talent moves, or involving listener expectations. Radio remains a consistent state of reinvention. Some companies are pulling back from legacy platforms like AM, while others are investing in local markets. At the same time, the importance of strong personalities and smart programming decisions has never been more evident. That's your Radio Connection Live news for the week of April 13th. I'm Jared Reimer. Now, back to the show. Here is Jamie T.